Hello students, you are welcome back to class. Today we are considering how to use completing the square method to solve quadratic equation. Solving quadratic equations using completing the square method. First of all, if you have this to be a quadratic equation, x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. The one that is not having x is a constant. You first of all bring it to this other side. So that means you now have x squared minus 5x. This plus 6 is the constant. So plus, whenever it crosses the equality sign, it will now turn to minus 6. So you now have x squared minus 5x is equal to minus 6. Now, after you have done this, you now divide the coefficient of x by 2 and add the square of the results to both sides. Divide the coefficient of x by 2 and add the square of the results to both sides. Here, you realize that the coefficient of x here is minus 5. The coefficient of x here is minus 5. So that means you are having minus 5. You divide minus 5 by 2. So that means you are having minus 5 over 2. Then you now add the square, making it what? Minus 5 over 2 square. You add it to this part of the equation to the left hand side. Then you add it to the right hand side. Whatsoever thing you do to the left hand side, you will do it to the right hand side. So that's the reason you're having x squared minus 5x plus minus 5 over 2 square is equal to minus 6 plus minus 5 over 2 square. Now, by adding dividing the coefficient of x by 2 and adding the square to both sides, in this part of the equation, you've made this a perfect square. You've made x squared minus 5x plus minus 5 over 2 square a perfect square. This is what it means. You realize that if you pick x here and you pick this minus 5 here, if you find the square of the two, you will realize you will get this x squared minus 5x minus plus minus 5 over 2 square back. Let's just try it and see. So now, if I want to expand, as I was saying, if you divide the coefficient of x by 2 and add the square to this side, you realize you've made this side a perfect square. So that means if you say x minus 5 over 2 square, you realize that if you expand this, you get this back. Let's just look at it and see. Now if you have it means x minus 5 over 2 times x minus 5 over 2. If we expand this, so this x times x minus 5 over 2, then minus 5 over 2 times x minus 5 over 2. So x times s will give us x squared. X times minus 5 over 2 will give us minus 5 over 2x. Minus 5 over 2x times x will give us minus 5 over 2x. Then minus times this minus will give us, so minus 5 over 2 times minus 5 over 2. I don't want to expand, I don't want to break this down. I'm still having, let's still put it like that. Minus 5 over 2 times minus 5 over 2, same thing as saying minus 5 over 2 square. So we now have this x squared. Since these two are fractions, the LCM is what? 2. 2, how many 2 and 2? 1. 1 times minus 5 will give us minus 5x. How many 2 and 2? 1. 1 times minus 5x will give us minus 5x. Then we are still having this to be minus 5 over 2 square. So we are now having x squared minus 5x minus 5x is what? Minus 10x. Then we are having minus 5 over 2 square. So you now have x squared minus 10x divided by 2 give us 5x. Then minus 5 over 2 square. You will realize that that is exactly what we are having here. You can see that after expanding what I have here, I still got this back. X squared minus 5x plus minus 5 over 2 square. So it shows that by dividing the coefficient of x by 2 and adding the square, you realize that you have made this on this part a perfect square. So now after making it a perfect square, so that means you have x minus 5 over 2 square is equal to, this side is minus 6. If we expand, minus 5 over 2 square means minus 5 over 2 times minus 5 over 2. That minus times minus will eventually give us plus. 5 times 5 is 25 over 2 times 2 will give us 4. So now you are now going to solve this part of the equation. You have x minus 5 over 2 square is equal to, the LCM of 1 and 4 will give us 4. How many 1 are in 4? We have in 4. 4 times minus 6 will give us minus 24. How many 4 are in 4? We have 1. 1 times 25 will give us 25. So that means we are having x minus 5 over 2 square is equal to minus 24 plus 25 will give us 1 over 4. Now when you get to this side, you are now going to bring this square to this other side. Whenever square crosses the equality sign, it will now turn to square root. So that means we are having x minus 5 over 2 equals the square root of 1 over 4. Now, after this, you find the square root of 1 over 4. So that means we are having x minus 5 over 2 is equal to square root of 1 over 4. So you'll be having x minus 5 over 2 is equal to, whenever you find the square root of any number, your answer should be a plus or minus. The square root of 1 is 1, and over the square root of 4 will give us 2. Now, you now have x minus 5 over 2 equals plus or minus 1 over 2. Then you now bring this minus 5 over 2 to this side, so that you now have only x the remaining here. X will now be equal to, this is minus 5 over 2. When it comes here, now turn to plus 5 over 2, plus or minus 1 over 2. So from this stage, you are now going to, here in the middle, you are having two different signs. You have positive sign and negative sign. So you pick the sign one after the other to solve it. So taking the positive side, we are having x equals 5 over 2 plus 1 over 2. So these two are fractions. You treat them like fractions. The LCM of 2 is what? 2. How many 2 are in 2? 1. 1 times 5 will give us 5 plus, how many 2 are in 2? 1. 1 times 1 will give us 1. 5 plus 1 will give us 6. Then divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 will give us 3. Then this other side of the you take negative also. So instead of positive here, you are now going to put negative here. So you have x is equal to 5 over 2 minus 1 over 2. So the LCM of these two fractions is what? 2. How many 2 are in 2? 1. 1 times 5 will give us 5. Minus, how many 2 are in 2? 1. 1 times this 1 is what? 1. 5 minus 1 will give us 4 over 2. 4 divided by 2 will give us 2. So that means if you solve for x, so the value for x should be what? 2, 3 or 2. plus 3 or plus 2. Now let's look at another example. Now look at this. We are having 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 equals 0. So first of all, you are going to bring this constant plus 3 to this side. So that means you are having 2x squared plus 7x is equal to minus 3. Anytime you are using completing the square method, you should understand that the coefficient of x squared should always be 1. But here, you realize that the coefficient of x squared here is what? 2x squared. So the first thing you have to do, you have to make it 1. How will you make the coefficient of this x squared 1? By dividing all through by the coefficient of x squared, which is what? 2. So you divide throughout by 2. When you divide throughout by 2, you're having 2x squared divided by 2 plus 7x divided by 2 is equal to minus 3 divided by 2. So if you divide this one by 2, you now have what? X squared plus 7 over 2x is equal to minus 3 over 2. Now from here, you are going to divide the coefficient of x by, you divide the coefficient of x by 2 and add the square of the result to both sides. Divide the coefficient of x by 2 and add the square of the result to both sides. So the coefficient of here x here is what? 7 over 2. If you are having 7 over 2, then divide it by 2. When you divide this by 2, you know this one is same thing as 2 over 1. If you have fractions, you are going to turn, so you are having 7 over 2. If you are changing division to times, the one at the back will turn upside down. So that means you now have what? 1 over 2. So that means you are having 7 over 2 times 1 over 2. 7 times 1 will give us 7 over 4. So if you divide the coefficient of x, which is 7 over 2, by 2, you will get 7 over 4. Then you now add the square, that is 7 over 4 square to both sides. So you add the square to both sides, that is 7 over 4 square. So that means you now have x squared plus 7 over 2x plus 7 over 4 square equals minus 3 over 2 plus 7 over 4 square. So by dividing the coefficient of x by 2 and adding the square, you have made this part a perfect square. So it means that if you bring your x plus 7 over 4 square, if you expand this, you get this back, should be equal to, now you now have minus 3 over 2 plus the square of 7 is what? 7 times 7 will give us 49 over the square of 4 is what? 4 times 4 will give us 16. So that means you now have x plus 7 over 4 square equals, the LCM of 2 and 16 will give us 16. How many 2 and 16? We having 8. 8 times this minus 3 will give us minus 24. Plus, how many 16 and 16? 1. 1 times 49 will give us 49. So that means you now have minus 24 plus 49 will give us what? 25 over 16. You have 25 over 16. So this square, you now make it to come to this other side. Whenever you come to this other side, it will now become a square root. So you now have x plus 7 over 4 equals the square root of 25 over 16. So from here, when you find the square root of 25 over 16, you are going to get plus or minus 5 over 4. So you now have x plus 7 over 4 equals plus or minus 5 over 4. Now, You now bring this plus 7 over 4 to this side. So when you bring it to this side, you now have x equals minus 7 over 4 plus or minus 5 over 4. So from here, you need to be picking the signs one after the other. Positive first, then you bring the negative. So taking positive, you have x equals minus 7 over 4 plus 5 over 4. The LCM of this 4 and 4 will give us 4. How many 4 are in 4? 1. 1 times minus 7 is minus 7. Plus, how many 4 are in this 4? We have 1. 1 times 5 will give us 5. We now have minus 7 plus 5 will give us minus 2 over 4. When you do this to the lowest term, you now have minus 1 over 2. Now, coming to the negative side. So, if you pick this negative sign, you have x equals minus 7 over 4 minus 5 over 4. So, since these ones are fractions, the LCM will be what? Will give us 4. How many 4 are in 4? 1. 1 times minus 7 will give us minus 7. How many 4 are in 4? 1. 1 times 5 will give us 5. Minus 7 minus 5 will give us minus 12 over 4. Minus 12 divided by 4 will give us minus 3. So the value for x will either be minus 1 over 2 or minus 3. If you to use completing the square method, you need to know that you just need to follow the procedure. If you follow the procedure, you will not have any problem. First of all, you bring the constants to a separate part of the equality. Then make sure the coefficient of x squared is 1. Then after that, you now divide the coefficient of x by 2 and add the square to both sides to be able to resolve. Now, let us look at another example. When you are having 3x squared minus 4x minus 5 is equal to 0. So first of all, this constant, the one that is not having x, you bring it to the other side of the equality sign. So that means this is minus 5 here. When it comes here, it now turns to plus 5. So from here, you realize that the coefficient of x squared is 3x squared. So that means you need to make it 1 by dividing throughout by this coefficient of which is 3. So that means you now have 3x squared divided by 3 minus 4 over 3x is equal to 5 over 3. 3 divided by 3 here will give us 1. So that means you now have x squared minus 4 over 3x is equal to 5 over 3. So from here, you are going to divide the coefficient of x by 2. Here, the coefficient of x by x here is minus 4 over 3. Divide it by 2. So you realize that I say it's minus 4 over 3. Then, this one, if you change division to multiplication, it will turn to 1 over 2. So you have 2 here 1, 2 here 2. So that means you have minus 2 over 3. When you divide minus 4 over 3 by 2, you get minus 2 over 3. Then you now add the square of minus 2 over 3 square to both sides. So you add this one to this. So when you divide the coefficient of x by 2 and add the square, so you now have x squared minus 4 over 3x. So you now say plus this minus 2 over 3 square equals 5 over 3 plus minus 2 over 3 square. So by dividing the coefficient of x by 2 and adding the square, you have made this part a perfect square. So if you pick x and this minus 2 over 3 and you expand it, you get this back. So that means you now have x minus 2 over 3 square is equal to 5 over 3 plus minus 2 over 3 times minus 2 over 3 will give us minus times minus will give us plus 2 times 2 will give us 4 over 3 times 3 will give us 9. So now you now have minus x minus 2 over 3 square equals, then the LCM of 3 and 9 will give us 9. So how many 3 are in 9? 3. 3 times 5 will give us 15 plus how many 9 are in 9? 1. 1 times 4 will give us 4. So that means you now have x minus 2 over 3 square is equal to 15 plus 4 is what? 19 over 9. You will now bring this square to this other side. So the square will now turn to what? The square root. You now have x minus 2 over 3 is equal to the square root of 19 over 9. So now you now have x minus 2 over 3 is equal to, when you find the square root of 19, you are having a 4.358898944 when you press your calculator. Then the square root of this 9 will give us 3. So you now have x minus 2 over 3 equals plus or minus 4.358898944 over 3. You now bring this minus 3 to this other side. So that when minus crosses the equality sign, it will turn to plus 2 over 3 plus or minus 4.358898944 over 3. When you get here, you now take the signs one after the other. You take positive, then you take negative. So let's try to do that. You now have x taking positive, x equals 2 over 3 plus 4.358898944 over 3. So since 3 is the denominator, you let the 3 bit is the LCM. How many 3 are in 3? 1. 1 times 2 will give us 2 plus. How many 3 are in 3? 1. 1 times this numerator will give us 4.358898944. So you now have 2 plus 4.35. It will give you 6.35889844 divided by 3. When you divide it by 3, you are going to have 2.119632981. If you do this to one decimal place, you have x is equal to 2.1. Now, when you take negative, if it is negative you are taking, you are having x equals 2 over 3 minus 4.358898944 divided by 3. Then you find the LCM of these 3. The LCM is 3. How many 3 are in 3? 1. 1 times 2 will give us 2 minus. How many 3 are in 3? 1. 1 times 4.358898944 will give us the same number. Then 2 minus 4.3588 will give us minus 2.3588898944. Then divided by 3, you are having minus 0.78629964. So if you do this to one decimal place, so that means you're having 0. No, since the number after the first number is what? 8 more than 5, add 1 to this making it a minus 0.8. So the value for x is what? X will be what? 2.1 or minus 0.8. For the work practice, you have to solve the following quadratic equations using completing the square method. 1. X squared minus 9x plus 4 equals 0. 2. 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 equals 0. 3. M squared minus 7m plus 11 equals 0. 4. 3x squared minus 5x minus 9 equals 0. 5. 4x squared plus 7x minus 2 equals 0. 6. 3x squared minus 13x minus 10 equals 0. Please ensure you like, subscribe and comment on this video. Thank you.